It was on November 8th in the year 1895 that physicist Wilhelm Conrad Röntgen becomes the first person to observe X-rays, a significant scientific advancement that would ultimately benefit a variety of fields, most of all medicine, by making the invisible visible. Röntgen's discovery occurred accidentally in his Würzburg, Germany lab, where he was testing whether cathode rays could pass through glass when he noticed a glow coming from a nearby chemically coated screen. He dubbed the rays that caused this glow X-rays because of their unknown nature. X-rays are electromagnetic energy waves that act similar to light rays, but at wavelengths approximately 1,000 times shorter than those of light. Mr. Röntgen holed up in his lab and conducted a series of experiments to better understand his discovery. He learned that X-rays penetrate human flesh, but not higher density substances such as bone or lead, and that they can be photographed. Röntgen's discovery was labeled a medical miracle, and X-rays soon became an important diagnostic tool in medicine, allowing doctors to see inside the human body for the first time without surgery. In 1897, X-rays were first used on a military battlefield during the Balkan War to find bullets and broken bones inside patients. Scientists were quick to realize the benefits of X-rays, but slower to comprehend the harmful effects of radiation. Initially, it was believed X-rays passed through flesh as harmlessly as light. However, within several years, researchers began to report cases of burns and skin damage after exposure to X-rays, and in 1904, Thomas Edison's assistant, Clarence Daly, who had worked extensively with X-rays, continued his eternity of skin cancer. Daly's continuance of eternity caused some scientists to begin taking the risk of radiation more seriously, but they still weren't fully understood. During the 1930s, 40s, and 50s, in fact, many American shoe stores featured shoe-fitting fluoroscopes that used X-rays to enable customers to see the bones in their feet. It wasn't until the 1950s that this practice was determined to be a risky business. Wilhelm Röntgen received numerous accolades for his work, including the first Nobel Prize in Physics in 1901, yet he remained modest and never tried to patent his discovery. Wow. Today, X-ray technology is widely used in medicine, material analysis, and devices such as airport security scanners. On November 8th in the year 1973, Maurice Ferre is elected mayor of Miami, Florida. In addition to becoming the first Puerto Rican to lead a major city in the mainland United States and the first Hispanic mayor of Miami, Ferre is credited for transforming Miami from a tourist town into an international city. The Ferre family was one of the wealthiest in Puerto Rico, and Ferre's relatives included prominent politicians, novelists, and industrialists. Ferre served briefly in the Florida House of Representatives before being elected mayor in 1973. He would hold the position until 1985, serving 6 two-year terms. Despite being a, quote, weak mayor, unquote, Ferre transformed the city. Ferre immediately set about challenging the non-group, a cabal of white businessmen who had effectively run the city for the last several decades. It should be noted that the mayor of Miami was just one of 5 commissioners and did not have the power to unilaterally make appointments. Reese Ferre set out to integrate a city that was still largely segregated. With the help of 2 allies on the city governing commission, the black civil rights leader, Reverend Theodore Gibson, and Manalo Rebozo, the city's first Cuban-born elected official, Ferre, appointed the first black city attorney, the first black city manager, and the first 2 black police chiefs. He and that attorney, George Knox, convinced the federal government to sue the city for discrimination, forcing the desegregation of the police and fire departments. Known for his cosmopolitanism, Ferre sought to make Miami a global city, rather than merely another East Coast beach town. Quote, "I had a clear vision that Miami really needed to look south," unquote, is what Ferre once told the Miami Herald. During his time as mayor, he expanded the city's port, lured domestic and foreign banks to a newly christened financial center, and welcomed the immigrants who poured in from Cuba. Among numerous other new developments, Ferre secured the site of American Airlines Arena, home of the Miami Heat. His focus on building affordable housing and developing urban areas is credited with revitalizing much of the city and preventing suburban sprawl from consuming the Everglades. In many ways, his dream of an international hub and his infrastructure programs created Miami as it is known today. Ferre's tenure came to an end due to a trend he helped encourage: Cuban-American participation in city governance. After he was replaced by the city's first Cuban-American mayor, Ferre held a number of posts in the public and private sectors and ran for Senate successfully in 2010. Upon his continuance of paternity in September of 2019, both allies and bitter political rivals acknowledged his contributions to the city. His obituary in the Herald, whose board had once included members of the non-group he sought to destroy, referred to him as, quote, "the father of modern-day Miami," unquote. On November 8th in 1994, the Republican Revolution is initiated. For the first time in 20, the Republican Party wins control of both the U.S. House of Representatives and the Senate in midterm congressional elections. Led by Representative Newt Gingrich of Georgia, who subsequently replaced Democrat Tom Foley of Washington as Speaker of the House, the empowered GOP united under the contract with America. The contract with America was a 10-point legislative plan whose main points were to reduce federal taxes, balance the budget, and dismantle social welfare programs established during 6 decades of mostly Democratic rule in Congress. Gingrich's House of Representatives, home to the majority of the Republican freshmen, led the Republican Revolution by passing every bill incorporated in the contract with America, with the exception of a term limits constitutional amendment within the first 100 days of the 104th Congress. The historic information divulged and documented on this audio file can be verified on history.com.